Deep in the darkness of a French cave, something incredible was found. Hidden for over 30,000 years, the walls of Chauvet Cave are covered in paintings that should not exist. These aren't simple stick figures or primitive scribbles. The artwork is so advanced, so detailed, that it looks almost modern. Shading, movement, perspective, things that weren't supposed to be part of prehistoric art. The discovery shook the world. Before this, historians believed early humans were unsophisticated, that real artistic expression only appeared much later. Chauvet proved that humans tens of thousands of years ago had creativity, intelligence, and possibly a deeper understanding of the world than we ever thought. But there's something unsettling about these paintings. The animals, lions, rhinos, mammoths, seem to leap off the walls with an eerie, lifelike quality. Some figures are half human, half beast, as if the artists were depicting creatures from another world. What inspired them? What were they trying to capture? And then there's the handprints. Many caves have them, stenciled against the stone, but some of the hands in Chauvet are smaller than any known human hands. Others have elongated fingers, strange proportions that don't quite match modern anatomy. Some researchers believe these could be ritual markings, evidence of early shamanic practices. Others whisper something stranger. What if these weren't human hands at all? But Chauvet isn't the only prehistoric mystery. Deep inside Lascaux Cave, another discovery left scientists questioning everything they knew. Among the paintings of bulls and deer, there is something even more astonishing, a sky map. Some researchers believe that certain dots and patterns scattered across the cave match real constellations. Orion, the Pleiades, the Summer Triangle, mapped out thousands of years before recorded astronomy. If this is true, it means early humans were already watching the skies, tracking celestial movements, and possibly passing down star knowledge long before modern civilizations. It challenges everything we thought we knew about ancient people. The entrances to both caves are sealed now. No one is allowed inside except a handful of scientists. The artwork is too fragile, too important to risk. But the images remain, locked in time, whispering secrets from a forgotten world. What else have we underestimated about the past? What else is waiting to be uncovered? Not all ancient cave art is about animals and hunting. Some of the most bizarre and unsettling images left behind by early humans aren't of creatures at all, but of hands. In caves across the world, from Argentina to Indonesia, thousands of hand stencils are pressed against stone walls. Most seem normal. But then there are the others. The ones that don't match human anatomy. Some have 6 fingers, others appear elongated or deformed. A few are so small they could belong to children, but their proportions are strangely off. In El Castillo Cave in Spain, some of these prints are estimated to be at least 40,000 years old, making them some of the oldest known art in human history. In Cueva de las Manos, Argentina, a massive cluster of hands seems almost ritualistic, as if the artists were marking their presence over generations. But why? Were these hands a way of saying I was here, a form of early communication, or something more mysterious? Some researchers believe they could be linked to ancient shamanic practices meant to connect early humans to unseen forces. Others speculate that the deformed hands could be evidence of genetic conditions or even intentional alterations. But there's another question lurking in the background. Were all of these handprints actually made by humans? Whatever the truth, these ghostly imprints are a silent message from the distant past. They raise more questions than answers. And strange markings left behind by ancient people aren't just hidden in caves. Some are carved into the earth itself, on a scale so massive they can only be seen from above. The Nazca lines in Peru are world famous. They're massive shapes stretching across the desert, visible only from the sky. But they're not the only ones. And they're not the oldest. Scattered across Kazakhstan, hidden in the Amazon, and even found in California's Mojave Desert, massive geometric patterns and figures have been etched into the land for thousands of years. Some predate the Nazca lines by millennia. In Turgai, Kazakhstan, enormous formations known as the steppe geoglyphs spread across the landscape. Some are simple circles, others are complex swastika-like shapes created with perfect precision. Who built them? And more importantly, why? In the Amazon rainforest, another discovery has baffled archaeologists. Aerial surveys have revealed hundreds of massive geometric formations, perfectly preserved beneath the trees. These aren't natural. They're man-made, carved into the land long before the jungle grew over them. Some estimate that these Amazon geoglyphs could be more than 2,000 years old, but their purpose remains unknown. These mysterious shapes raise a chilling possibility. Entire civilizations, advanced enough to carve massive messages into the earth, may have existed long before recorded history. And yet, almost nothing is known about them. What messages were they trying to send? Who were they meant for? If these ancient markings were left behind for someone or something to see, what else is out there, hidden beneath the surface? In another part of Peru, a strange discovery might hold even more secrets. Thousands of perfectly carved holes stretch for miles in a way that defies explanation. High in the Peruvian desert, far from the famous Nazca lines, lies something even stranger. Thousands of carved-out holes stretching in an almost perfect line for miles. No one knows who made them, why they're there, or how old they are. Known as the Band of Holes, this bizarre formation consists of more than 6,000 individual pits, some as deep as 6 feet, carved into the dry, rocky landscape. At first glance, they seem too precise to be natural. The holes follow a rigid, organized path along a barren ridge, covering nearly 1.5 miles. Some archaeologists have suggested they were ancient food storage pits, but there's a problem with that theory. Most of them are empty, with no signs of ever being used for storage. Others think they could be part of a forgotten counting system, or even a form of prehistoric communication, like a massive coded message etched into the earth. Satellite images reveal something even more unsettling. From above, the band of holes almost looks like a trail left behind by something enormous, as if an unknown force once moved across the desert, carving out the holes in its path. But by whom, and for what purpose? No ancient texts or oral traditions mention them. Whoever made these pits left behind no records, no tools, no explanations. The Band of Holes is a silent enigma, a mystery that refuses to be solved. And it's not the only ancient artwork that defies explanation. Deep in the Kimberley region of Australia, hidden within rocky cliffs and caves, ancient paintings stare back at those who find them. Known as the Wandjina figures, these massive, otherworldly beings are among the most mysterious pieces of Aboriginal rock art ever discovered. Their faces are strange, huge, hollow eyes with no pupils, wide, featureless heads, and no mouths. Some stand as tall as 20 feet, towering over the human figures painted beside them. The indigenous Worora, Ngarinyin, and Wunambal people believe these paintings depict the Wandjina, ancestral spirits who control the weather and watch over the land. But some researchers see something else. Figures that bear an eerie resemblance to modern descriptions of extraterrestrials. The Wandjina are unique in ancient art. Unlike most rock paintings that fade with time, these figures are regularly repainted, as if meant to be preserved for eternity. Some are thousands of years old, others could be much older. But why do they look so different from other Aboriginal art? Why do they lack mouths? According to legend, the Wandjina were so powerful that they didn't need to speak, they controlled everything with their minds. But these figures don't just raise questions about who painted them, they raise a bigger, stranger possibility. What if these weren't just myths? What if the people who painted them saw something real? And if they did, what else might they have encountered in the past? In 1911, miners digging through a guano-filled cave near Lovelock, Nevada, stumbled upon something unexpected. Bones, human bones. But there was something unusual about them. They were massive. Some of the skulls measured far larger than those of an average human, with jawbones so big they could fit over a normal person's face. According to local Paiute legends, there was once a race of giant red-haired people who terrorized their ancestors. The Paiutes called them the Sitaka, said to be cannibalistic giants who were eventually trapped inside the cave and burned alive. For years, the story was dismissed as folklore, but the miners had just unearthed something that matched the description exactly. Hundreds of artifacts were removed from Lovelock Cave, woven sandals far too large for a normal human foot, strange tools, and enormous skeletal remains. The findings were so bizarre that the Smithsonian Institution allegedly took possession of them, but many were never seen again. Some claim the bones were lost in storage, others believe they were intentionally hidden to suppress evidence of something that didn't fit into conventional history. Skeptics argue that the bones belonged to unusually tall Native Americans, not giants. But if that were the case, why did so many of the remains and artifacts vanish? What was so controversial about what was found in Lovelock Cave? To this day, the site remains an unsolved mystery. Whatever was inside that cave, whether it was truly a race of giants or something else, has left behind a puzzle with missing pieces. A mystery buried deep in time, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover the truth. In the dry, desolate caves of Nazca, Peru, a discovery surfaced that defied explanation. A set of mummified bodies unlike anything ever recorded were found deep within the rock. At first glance they looked human, until experts examined their hands. Each one had only 3 long, bony fingers, as if designed for something beyond human anatomy. These were not ordinary mummies. They were small, fragile, and preserved with extraordinary detail. Their elongated skulls, oversized eye sockets, and unusual rib structures didn't match any known human remains. Scans revealed internal organs intact, suggesting that whoever or whatever they weren't artificially altered after death. The mystery deepened when carbon dating placed the bodies at nearly 1,000 years old, meaning they belonged to a civilization that predates the Inca Empire. But no known culture in the region documented or depicted beings with 3 fingers and elongated heads. If these were humans, their skeletal differences would be considered biological impossibilities. Some believe these mummies are evidence of a lost branch of humanity, a separate species that lived and died in isolation. Others claim they prove ancient extraterrestrial contact, suggesting that these beings were not from this world at all. The Peruvian government has kept the site's location secret. Some researchers argue the bodies are elaborate fakes, others say they are authentic but of an unknown origin. The truth remains buried. But across the world, in Japan, another mystery is staring back, one carved into stone, thousands of years before the modern era. Thousands of years ago, in what is now Japan, small clay figures were shaped by unknown hands. Known as dogu, these strange statues date back to as early as 14,000 years ago, during the Jomon period. But their appearance is nothing like other ancient human art. Their bizarre, almost robotic designs raise a chilling question. Were the dogu meant to represent something not entirely human? Each dogu has bulbous wide eyes, intricate armor-like patterns, and exaggerated body shapes. Some have massive goggle-like eye coverings, resembling modern depictions of astronaut helmets. Others have thin limbs and jointed segments, almost as if they were mechanical rather than organic. These weren't crude attempts at depicting people. They were made with precision and care, as if their makers were trying to replicate something very specific. Historians argue that dogu figurines were spiritual objects, possibly shamanic representations of gods or ancestors. But no written records exist to confirm their purpose. Unlike other ancient art, they don't resemble ordinary humans or animals. And that's where the mystery grows deeper. Could the Jomon people have been trying to capture something they saw? Some researchers believe the dogu figures bear a striking resemblance to modern descriptions of extraterrestrials. If that were true, it would suggest that encounters with otherworldly beings have been happening far longer than we ever imagined. Most of the dogu figurines were deliberately broken before being buried, leading to speculation that they were part of ritualistic ceremonies. Were the Jomon people trying to communicate with something or get rid of something? The dogu mystery remains unsolved. The statues are displayed in museums admired for their artistry, but their meaning is lost to time. Did the Jomon people create figures of gods, spirits, or something else entirely? Perhaps the real answer is still waiting to be uncovered. In the middle of the Egyptian desert, far from any ocean, something unbelievable lies buried beneath the sand, a mass graveyard of prehistoric whales. Known as Wadi al-Hitan, or the Valley of the Whales, this site contains fossilized skeletons of massive whales, some with legs and feet, creatures that existed before whales fully adapted to life in the sea. These fossils, some over 50 feet long, tell a story that rewrites evolution. The bones belong to Basilosaurus and Dorudon, ancient whales that still had hind limbs, proving that their ancestors once walked on land. But how did they end up here, in the middle of a desert? Millions of years ago, this region was covered by a vast ocean. When these creatures died, their remains settled on the seafloor, slowly fossilizing over time. But the mystery isn't just their presence, it's their arrangement. Many of the skeletons are positioned strangely, almost as if they were placed there intentionally. Some even have bite marks from unknown predators, hinting at a prehistoric battle frozen in time. Even more unsettling, many of the fossils are completely intact, as if something preserved them perfectly. Unlike other fossil sites, where bones are scattered and broken, Wadi al-Hitan holds remains that seem undisturbed, as if something kept them in place for millions of years. The site raises haunting questions. What else could be buried beneath the Sahara's endless sand? What other lost creatures or civilizations might still be waiting to be uncovered? Across the world, another ancient discovery remains hidden beneath the earth. Buried for decades under the ground in Scotland, the Cochno stone is one of the strangest and most intricate prehistoric carvings ever found. Measuring nearly 43 feet long, it is covered in swirling circular patterns, thousands of mysterious symbols etched into solid rock over 5,000 years ago. The designs are known as cup and ring marks, a style found at ancient sites around the world. But what do they mean? Some researchers believe they represent the movement of the stars, making the Cochno stone a possible prehistoric map of the sky. Others suggest it could have been used in rituals, marking an important spiritual site for ancient people. But there's a problem. No one knows who made it, or why. The carvings are incredibly precise, as if made with tools more advanced than simple stone chisels. Some patterns seem to overlap each other as if they were added over generations. Others appear in perfect geometric formations, almost like coordinates or coded messages. The stone was deliberately buried in 1965 to protect it from vandalism, sealing away its secrets beneath layers of earth. But even before that, stories surrounded it. Locals claimed it was cursed, that people who tampered with it would suffer misfortune. Some believed it held hidden knowledge, a lost key to an ancient civilization. Archaeologists have re-excavated parts of the Cochno stone, but the full truth remains out of reach. What if this isn't just a piece of prehistoric art? What if it was meant to send a message, one that we still haven't figured out? Across the world, another discovery suggests that ancient people were looking to the skies for answers, mapping the universe in ways we never expected. In Australia, long before modern telescopes and star charts, the Aboriginal people may have created one of the oldest astronomical maps in human history. At a site known as Wurdi Yuang, an arrangement of carefully placed stones seems to perfectly align with the movements of the sun. Unlike other ancient sites which track seasonal changes or lunar cycles, Wurdi Yuang appears to mark the solstices with incredible accuracy. The stones are positioned in a way that mirrors the horizon, allowing observers to see the sun's exact position during different times of the year. But what's even more incredible is that this site is estimated to be over 11,000 years old, making it older than Stonehenge and even the Egyptian pyramids. If true, it means that the Aboriginal Australians may have been the world's first astronomers, long before Western civilizations began charting the stars. Their knowledge of astronomy doesn't stop at Wurdi Yuang. Many Aboriginal oral traditions describe celestial events that happened thousands of years ago. Supernova explosions, meteor strikes, and planetary movements, all passed down through generations. Some stories even reference changes in the sky that match modern astronomical data, proving that this knowledge isn't just legend, it's rooted in real observations. But if these people understood the stars so well, what else did they know? Did they chart movements beyond our solar system? Were they tracking something we haven't yet discovered? Their sky maps and traditions may hold secrets we still haven't decoded, and if they were watching the heavens so closely, what were they expecting to see? For centuries, history books claimed that Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492. But an ancient map suggests that Europeans may have known about the New World long before Columbus ever set sail. Known as the Vinland Map, this mysterious medieval document appears to show the coastline of North America, labeled as Vinland, the name the Vikings gave to the land they reached across the Atlantic. If authentic, the map could change everything. It suggests that European scholars in the Middle Ages already knew about North America's existence long before Columbus. But where did the knowledge come from, and why was it ignored for so long? The Vikings are known to have reached Canada around the year 1000 AD, led by Leif Erikson. Archaeological remains at L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland prove they built settlements there, but no one thought they left behind maps. If this document is real, it means that Viking knowledge of the New World survived for centuries, possibly influencing later explorers. Yet the Vinland map remains one of history's most controversial documents. Some scientists claim the ink is too modern, while others argue that the parchment itself is genuinely ancient. Is it an authentic relic that rewrites history, or an elaborate forgery designed to fool scholars? The debate still rages on. On Easter Island, the land of the mysterious Moai statues, another enigma remains unsolved. Scattered across the island, archaeologists have discovered wooden tablets covered in an unknown script. This is Rongorongo, a writing system so rare, so unique, that no one has ever fully deciphered it. If translated, the Rongorongo tablets could unlock the secrets of Easter Island's lost civilization. They could tell us who built the massive Moai statues, why they were made, and what happened to the people who lived there. But there's a problem. No other Polynesian culture used writing. This makes Rongorongo one of the only known writing systems to appear independently in human history. How did an isolated island in the Pacific develop a script so complex? Some believe the islanders created it themselves, inspired by European explorers who arrived in the 1700s, but others argue that the writing is much older, proof of a lost Polynesian literacy that was erased over time. Even stranger, some of the glyphs appear to mirror constellations, hinting that the script might contain astronomical knowledge. Did the people of Easter Island track the stars? Were they leaving behind warnings? Or were they recording something they saw in the sky? Many of the tablets were destroyed by missionaries, burned as part of an effort to erase old traditions. Now, only a handful remain, scattered in museums across the world. The key to deciphering them may be lost forever, but if someone ever cracks the Rongorongo code, it could rewrite the history of writing itself. A lost language, a missing civilization, a message from the past, one that no one alive can read. The question is, was it meant for us to understand? In the depths of Egypt's ancient tombs, archaeologists have uncovered skulls that defy normal human anatomy. Long, unnatural, almost alien in shape. These discoveries have ignited debates among scientists and conspiracy theorists alike. Could these skulls belong to an undiscovered human lineage, or were they something entirely different? Most of the skulls found in Egypt follow typical human proportions, but a handful stand apart, with elongated craniums that look disturbingly unnatural. Some experts believe these skulls are the result of cranial binding, an ancient practice where a child's head was wrapped tightly to force it into an elongated shape. This custom was seen in different civilizations around the world, from the Mayans to tribes in Africa. But the Egyptian skulls present a different mystery. Some show no signs of artificial deformation at all. One of the most famous cases is the skull of an individual believed to be from the Amarna period, linked to Pharaoh Akhenaten. His statues and carvings already depict him with an unusually elongated head, narrow face, and strange body proportions. Some believe Akhenaten's entire bloodline carried this bizarre trait, and his son, the legendary Tutankhamun, may have inherited it as well. But if these skulls weren't shaped by human hands, what caused their extreme elongation? Some researchers point to genetics, suggesting a rare mutation. Others, however, speculate that the truth is far stranger. Could these skulls be evidence of an advanced civilization with extraterrestrial ties? Some theorists suggest Akhenaten may have been more than just an unusual ruler. His features, his religious shift toward worshipping a single sun-like god, and his mysterious lineage all fuel theories that he may have had knowledge beyond human understanding. A recently uncovered artifact in Egypt has left experts speechless. This mysterious carving, unlike anything seen before, was found deep within a hidden chamber near an ancient burial site. The figures have unnaturally elongated skulls, just like those discovered in the tombs of Amarna. But the real shock? The massive disc-shaped object at the center. Is this proof of something far more advanced than history admits? A forgotten civilization? A lost connection to something beyond our world? Tell us what you see in this image, fact or something else. Comment below. In the desert of Dashur stands one of Egypt's strangest structures, the bent pyramid. Unlike the perfectly symmetrical pyramids of Giza, this one looks wrong. Its lower half rises at a steep angle, but midway up, it suddenly changes direction as if the builders panicked and altered their plan. But why? Was it a mistake? Or does the bent pyramid hide something no one was meant to find? Egyptologists claim the abrupt shift in design was due to structural instability. If they had continued at the original angle, the pyramid might have collapsed. But some researchers argue there's more to the story. The bent pyramid is the only pyramid to retain much of its original smooth limestone casing. Why would they perfect the outer shell if they had made such a severe error? What's even more bizarre is what lies inside. Unlike most pyramids, which have a single burial chamber, the bent pyramid has two, one in the lower section and another higher up, connected by a narrow sloping passage. Who was important enough to need two tombs? Or was this pyramid built for something else entirely? Some theorists believe this wasn't meant to be a tomb at all, but an energy structure, part of a lost technology harnessed by the ancients. Others speculate the pyramid was abandoned for reasons that remain unknown, possibly even cursed. When researchers entered the upper chamber, they found no burial, no artifacts, just an eerie silence. No pharaoh was ever buried here. So why was it built? Could there be something still hidden beneath its foundation? Could this pyramid hold the key to secrets that rewrite history? Saqqara has always been a place of mystery. This vast necropolis, stretching far beyond the step pyramid of Djoser, hides thousands of tombs, some untouched for millennia. But among these ancient burials, a few have become infamous for something more than their historical value. Strange occurrences, eerie sensations, and unexplained accidents have made some archaeologists wonder, is something lurking within these ancient chambers? One of the most unsettling discoveries was a series of sealed tombs, eerily intact, despite their age. When researchers opened them, they expected to find the typical treasures and mummies. Instead, they uncovered something chilling. Bodies that appeared twisted in terror, their mouths frozen in silent screams. Unlike the usual carefully prepared burials, these remains seemed hastily thrown inside, as if someone had wanted to seal them away forever. Shortly after the excavation, members of the research team reported strange symptoms, sudden fevers, hallucinations, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Some refused to re-enter the site, others suffered unexplained accidents. Was it just coincidence? The rational explanation points to ancient fungi or bacteria inside the tombs affecting those who inhaled it. But locals tell a different story. They believe some tombs in Saqqara were never meant to be disturbed, that whatever was buried there was locked away for a reason. And Saqqara holds more than just haunted tombs. Not far from these mysterious burials lies something even older, something that might be watching over this sacred ground. A line of ancient sphinxes, weathered by time, still stands as if guarding the entrance to secrets buried beneath the sands. Sphinxes in Egypt are more than just statues, they are silent sentinels, placed to guard temples, tombs, and hidden passageways. While the Great Sphinx of Giza is the most famous, Luxor holds something just as intriguing, a vast avenue of sphinxes, stretching nearly 2 miles between the temples of Karnak and Luxor. But were these statues simple decorations, or did they serve a greater purpose? For centuries, these sphinxes were buried beneath layers of sand and debris, forgotten by time. When archaeologists began unearthing them, they realized the sheer scale of this avenue. Over 1,000 sphinxes once lined this road, each carved with remarkable precision. Who built them? And why was such a monumental pathway hidden for so long? Some scholars believe the Avenue of Sphinxes was part of a sacred procession route, used for religious ceremonies linking the two great temples. But others question whether this was its only purpose. Some of these sphinxes are unlike any other in Egypt, strange facial features, unusual proportions. Could they represent forgotten rulers, or even beings unlike any we know? Even more intriguing is what lies beneath Luxor. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed structures and tunnels that remain unexplored, hinting at an entire lost city buried beneath the modern landscape. Could the Avenue of Sphinxes be more than just a ceremonial road? Could it be a clue pointing to something far older and more mysterious? Something strange has been found in the depths of Saqqara. Among the intricate carvings on the walls of an ancient tomb, researchers uncovered a figure that defies explanation. Unlike the familiar depictions of gods, pharaohs, and animals, this one stands apart. A humanoid form, but with an elongated head, unusual proportions, and large, dark eyes. It doesn't resemble any known deity of ancient Egypt. Theories range from a symbolic statue to something far more unsettling. Ancient astronaut enthusiasts claim this is yet another piece of evidence that the Egyptians encountered beings beyond Earth. Historians, of course, dismiss these ideas, insisting that the figure is simply a misinterpreted artistic choice. But here's the real question. If this were just another carving, why does it feel so out of place? Saqqara has already given us eerie tombs, lost sphinxes, and artifacts that defy logic. But this discovery raises a new question. How much do we really know about the past? And what else is still waiting to be uncovered beneath the sands? Deep in the Valley of the Kings, archaeologists uncovered a tomb unlike any other, KV-55. Just a number at first, But soon it became one of the most haunting discoveries in Egypt's history. The tomb contained a single sarcophagus, its gold-plated mask violently ripped away as if someone had tried to erase the identity of the person buried inside. Who was this forgotten ruler, and why was their legacy so ruthlessly destroyed? The artifacts inside hinted at a connection to the heretic pharaoh Akhenaten, the ruler who abandoned Egypt's traditional gods in favor of the mysterious sun disk, Aten. Some believed the tomb belonged to Akhenaten himself. Others suggested it held Queen Taya, his mother. But the real mystery began when they examined the body. The mummy inside was in terrible condition, with its bones decayed unnaturally fast, as if something had accelerated its decomposition. Then came the strange events. Several researchers who entered Cave E55 fell ill. One even collapsed on site. Tools went missing. Photographs mysteriously failed to develop. Some whispered about the pharaoh's curse, a legend tied to tombs that were never meant to be opened. Scientists, of course, blamed bacteria or ancient mold, but others wondered, was the destruction of this mummy deliberate? Was someone centuries ago trying to ensure this pharaoh was never remembered? Despite years of research, Cave E55 remains unsolved. DNA tests suggest the mummy was likely Akhenaten, but questions still linger. Why was his tomb so hastily constructed? Why was his burial erased? And most chillingly, why did his body decay faster than any other mummy in the Valley of the Kings? Could something about Akhenaten's reign be a secret even modern historians aren't meant to uncover? High above the burial chambers of Egypt's ancient rulers, hidden in the shadows of stone ceilings, are carvings that have left historians questioning everything we know about the past. Celestial diagrams, cosmic pathways, and precise constellations, etched into the tombs thousands of years ago. Were these just decorative religious symbols, or could they be something far more advanced? One of the most striking examples is found in the tomb of Senenmut, an official under Pharaoh Hatshepsut. His burial chamber's ceiling is covered in a star map so accurate that it aligns with real astronomical patterns. It even includes depictions of planetary movements, something historians once believed was beyond ancient Egyptian knowledge. But how did they know? How were they able to map the heavens with such precision without telescopes or modern science? Then there's the Dendera zodiac, a mysterious circular relief found in the Temple of Hathor. It doesn't match typical Egyptian star charts, leading some to wonder if it represents knowledge passed down from an even older civilization, or from somewhere else entirely. Some theorists believe these maps could be records of celestial visitors, a way for the ancients to document something they witnessed in the sky. Others claim the Egyptians may have understood the cosmos in ways we still don't fully grasp. Skeptics argue that these star maps were simply religious, tied to the Egyptian belief in the afterlife. The sky was seen as a great cosmic river, guiding the dead to eternity. But what if there was something more? What if these weren't just symbols, but actual coordinates? Could Egypt's greatest tombs have been designed as guides to something beyond our planet? The deeper archaeologists dig, the more questions arise. What else is waiting to be discovered on the ceilings of Egypt's ancient temples? What knowledge did these builders leave behind, and who or what gave it to them? In the depths of Egypt's tombs, mummies are usually found in peaceful repose, carefully wrapped for their journey to the afterlife. But some discoveries have shattered this expectation. Mummies with mouths frozen open in silent screams, faces twisted in agony. Were these people cursed, executed, or did they suffer a fate even more disturbing? One of the most infamous cases is the screaming mummy of Deir el-Bahari. When archaeologists unwrapped it, they were confronted with a terrifying sight, a body contorted in a rictus of pain, its mouth gaping open. Unlike the carefully embalmed pharaohs, this individual had been hastily wrapped with no sign of the traditional rituals. Some believe this was Prince Pentower, a royal traitor who took part in a conspiracy against his own father, Pharaoh Ramses III. If true, his execution may have been a punishment meant to curse his soul for eternity. Another case was found in Saqqara, where an entire burial chamber held mummies showing similar expressions. Some researchers suggest they suffered from poisoning, strangulation, or even being buried alive. Others believe the distortion is simply a result of natural decomposition, but that explanation doesn't account for the rushed, almost careless embalming. Were these people deliberately denied passage to the afterlife? And if so, what had they done to deserve it? While the screaming mummies remain a terrifying enigma, another discovery speaks not of suffering but of grandeur. One of Egypt's most legendary sarcophagi, hidden away for centuries, belongs to a pharaoh whose tomb pushed the limits of ancient engineering. Seti I's tomb in the Valley of the Kings is one of the most breathtaking ever discovered. Unlike many others, which were looted long ago, Seti's burial chamber remained mostly intact, its walls covered in detailed carvings, its corridors stretching far deeper than expected. But the real mystery lies in his sarcophagus, a masterpiece that has puzzled historians for years. Carved from a single block of alabaster, this massive sarcophagus isn't just a coffin, it's almost translucent, glowing eerily under light. Some believe this was intentional, meant to mimic the radiance of the stars. The ancient Egyptians saw death as a journey through the night sky, and Seti's burial may have been designed to reflect that very path. But there's another mystery. When Seti's tomb was uncovered, his body was missing. The sarcophagus was there, perfectly preserved, yet no one lay inside. His mummy was later found elsewhere, in a different tomb. Was his original burial disturbed, or did the ancient priests hide him on purpose? Some have even speculated that Seti's sarcophagus was more than just a container for the dead, that it was part of a forgotten ritual or technology meant to aid the pharaoh's journey into the afterlife. The tomb's architecture itself suggests that its builders had advanced knowledge of design and construction, and Seti I wasn't the only ruler whose tomb revealed something unusual. Deep in Saqqara, an object was unearthed that doesn't belong in the ancient world at all. A stone artifact, so perfectly crafted that some believe it could have been a part of a lost machine. Some artifacts raise questions, others shouldn't exist at all. One such object was uncovered in the tomb of Prince Sabu at Saqqara, a finely crafted disc-shaped object made from fragile schist stone, dating back over 5,000 years. Its design is unlike anything else from ancient Egypt, leading some to speculate that it was part of a lost technology. The disc is not a simple bowl or plate. It has precise curved blades extending from a central hub, resembling a modern flywheel or turbine component. How could craftsmen of that time create something so intricate from a material as delicate as schist, which breaks easily under pressure? Some believe it was purely ceremonial, an object meant for religious use. But others aren't convinced. The shape is functional, designed for rotation, efficiency, and movement, traits not typically associated with ancient artifacts. Mainstream historians argue that the disc was a ritual object, perhaps a stand or an incense holder, yet nothing similar has ever been found. And why would an elite prince, not a priest or artisan, be buried with something so mechanically complex? Theories range from an advanced, lost Egyptian craft to something even stranger. Some suggest the disc could be a replica of a device they once saw, a memory of a machine long forgotten. While the schist disc remains a mystery, another discovery proves just how much of Egypt's past is still buried beneath the sand. For centuries, one of its greatest cities lay hidden, waiting to be found. And when it was, what archaeologists uncovered shocked the world. Tanis was once one of the most powerful cities in Egypt. A royal capital during the 21st and 22nd dynasties, it was a center of trade, culture, and wealth. But at some point, the city simply disappeared. For centuries, historians didn't know its exact location. It was whispered about in ancient texts but left no clear trace, until its ruins were finally uncovered in the 1930s. What archaeologists found was stunning. Gigantic stone temples, colossal statues, and entire royal tombs, all hidden beneath the sands of the Nile Delta. Unlike the Valley of the Kings, where tombs were carefully cut into rock, Tanis's burials were above ground, making them vulnerable to time. The shifting landscape swallowed the city whole, preserving a forgotten royal necropolis unlike anything seen before. Inside the tombs, researchers discovered untouched treasure, including solid silver sarcophagi, golden masks, and jewelry rivaling even Tutankhamun's riches. One of the greatest finds was the tomb of Susens I, a pharaoh whose burial remained intact while others were looted long ago. But something about Tanis felt off. It was a capital without a clear reason for its rise or fall. There were no natural defenses, no strategic location. Why was it built, and why was it abandoned so suddenly? Some researchers believe a disaster struck Tanis, forcing its people to flee. Others speculate that shifting river patterns turned the once thriving city into an uninhabitable swamp. But there are whispers of something more unnatural, that Tanis was erased from history on purpose. Could there be something hidden beneath its ruins, something that Egypt's later rulers wanted forgotten? Tanis proved that entire cities can disappear, swallowed by time. And if such a massive metropolis was lost for so long, what else remains undiscovered beneath the shifting sands? In the shadow of Dashur's pyramids, a discovery was made that still baffles archaeologists. Dozens of sealed jars buried for millennia, untouched, their contents still a mystery. These weren't ordinary storage containers. Their lids were fused shut with ancient resin, almost as if something inside was never meant to be opened. The jars were found near the buried pyramid, a collapsed structure belonging to Pharaoh Sneferu. Some believe they were part of an ancient ritual, containing oils, food, or sacred substances meant for the afterlife. But others question why, after so many years, no one has dared to break them open. Were they meant to hold something too dangerous to expose? Ancient Egyptians were known to use powerful chemicals for mummification. Some speculate these jars could hold long-lost preservation techniques, or even a forgotten element of embalming. Others suggest a more unsettling theory, that these containers sealed away a curse, a practice seen in later Egyptian burials. Until one is finally opened, the truth remains locked inside. Not far from Dashur, another forgotten project tells the story of ambition beyond its time. A structure that, had it been completed, could have changed everything we know about Egypt's stone carving abilities. In the quarries of Aswan lies one of Egypt's greatest what-ifs, a massive obelisk still connected to the bedrock. If completed, it would have been the largest obelisk ever built, towering over any known monument. But something went wrong. A crack appeared in the stone, and the project was abandoned instantly. Historians argue this was simply a mistake, a flaw in the stone that made it impossible to continue. But others point to the technique used to carve it: smooth, precise cuts in granite, one of the hardest materials to shape. The tools available at the time shouldn't have been capable of such accuracy. Could the Egyptians have used a more advanced technology than we understand? Some believe the obelisk's failure was more than just an accident. Why didn't they attempt to carve another? Why abandon such a monumental project entirely? Some theories suggest a catastrophe struck the workers, or that this monument was tied to a forgotten purpose, one that was suddenly deemed too dangerous to complete. While the unfinished obelisk was never raised, another recent discovery in Egypt has left experts speechless. A coffin unlike any other, its color and craftsmanship suggesting a burial of deep significance, or perhaps something more unsettling. Deep in China's Qinghai province lies Mount Baigong, a desolate mountain hiding one of the strangest mysteries on Earth, the Baigong Pipes. These rust-colored tubes, embedded in rock formations over 150,000 years old, stretch through the mountain and into a nearby saltwater lake. Their origins are a mystery. How could such advanced structures exist long before human technology evolved? Tests revealed the pipes are made of iron, with traces of silicon dioxide and calcium oxide, materials found in nature but rarely combined in this way. Even stranger, parts of the pipes show signs of being exposed to extremely high heat. Their precise layout, some running vertically into the mountain and others leading to the lake, raises questions. Were they part of an ancient irrigation system, or could they be remnants of alien technology? Local legends add an eerie layer to the mystery. Tribes spoke of strange lights and sounds around the mountain, as if something otherworldly once lingered here. While scientists suggest theories like fossilized roots or volcanic activity, none fully explain the pipe's advanced design. Standing near the pipes, with icy winds cutting through the barren landscape, the air feels heavy with secrets. Whether a natural anomaly or a relic of something extraordinary, the Baigong Pipes remain one of the most unexplainable discoveries ever found in the mountains. It happened again. Deep in the mountains, hidden away from civilization, a team of workers unearthed something they were never meant to find. A colossal metallic pipe, partially buried as if the earth itself had been trying to keep it hidden. The Baigong Pipes were small, scattered relics of something ancient. But this is something else entirely. Bolted, reinforced, impossibly smooth. The scale is beyond human engineering. Scientists arrived, yet no one could explain what it was, how old it was, or who, or what, had built it. Some say it's the remains of an abandoned megastructure. Others whisper of something far more terrifying. An entrance, a gateway, a part of something still slumbering beneath the rock. If that's true, should we have left it buried? As if the mountains themselves weren't eerie enough, the Himalayas hold a secret that refuses to die: the legend of the Yeti. For centuries, local Sherpas have whispered about the massive shadowy figure lurking in the snow. But legends are one thing, evidence is another. And in 2019, something strange was found. A team of Indian Army mountaineers stumbled upon a set of colossal footprints, measuring nearly 32 inches long, deep in the snow near Makalu Base Camp. Too large for any human, too distinct for a bear, the tracks stretched in a pattern eerily similar to a bipedal walk. The discovery reignited old questions. If the Yeti is just a myth, then what made these tracks? Scientists scrambled for answers, dismissing them as bear prints distorted by melting snow. But that didn't explain everything. Why were the impressions evenly spaced, suggesting a two-legged stride? And why have similar prints been reported for decades, from Everest to Bhutan? The deeper you dig, the more unsettling it gets. If these aren't the tracks of a Yeti, then what else is out there, walking in the untouched white, just beyond our sight? Speaking of things out of place, across the Tibetan Plateau in China's Bayanhar Mountains, a discovery was made that defies logic. Buried deep in a cave, over 700 stone discs were uncovered, each about a foot wide, with precise grooves spiraling inward, as if they were some kind of ancient record. At first, archaeologists assumed they were just ritualistic artifacts, but when examined closely, the material wasn't quite natural. The discs contained high levels of cobalt and other metals rarely found in such formations. Even more bizarre? Some researchers claimed the grooves held microscopic hieroglyph-like inscriptions, symbols so small they required magnification to be seen. Who could have carved them, and why? Then there's the legend that refuses to die. Local myths speak of the Drapa, a race of small, fragile beings that supposedly fell from the sky. Some say the discs tell their story, of a crash, of survival, of something unearthly. Officially, the artifacts remain unexplained, but the questions linger. Were these just primitive carvings, or could they be something far more advanced? The mysteries continue westward, across the ocean, deep into the wild heart of Maine. Mount Katahdin is more than just the state's tallest peak. It's a place of ancient legends and bizarre landscapes. But nothing is as unsettling as the boulder field. Here, scattered across the mountain lie massive rocks, some the size of cars, others like small houses, strewn across the land as if something once hurled them with immense force. Geologists say it was glaciers. But the placement is strange, almost deliberate. Native American folklore tells another story, one of spirits and giants who shaped the land long before humans arrived. Hikers report eerie silence in the boulder field, as if the wind refuses to move through it. Some claim strange vibrations hum through the stones, felt but never heard. Theories range from natural magnetic fields to something unknown beneath the surface. Whatever the explanation, one thing is certain: standing among these scattered giants surrounded by stillness, you can't shake the feeling that you are not alone. The Appalachian Mountains are old, older than the Atlantic Ocean itself. And with that age comes stories. Deep in the forests, past the last streetlights and human settlements, strange lights appear. Orbs, glowing softly, drifting through the trees like wandering spirits. For centuries, locals have whispered about these floating lights, most famously seen in places like Brown Mountain in North Carolina. They flicker, move unpredictably, and sometimes vanish as suddenly as they appear. Scientists have tried to explain them away: swamp gas, reflections, even electrical discharges. But none of these theories fully fit. The lights don't just appear in one place. They've been spotted from Georgia to Pennsylvania, always in remote, wild landscapes. Then there are the reports that don't make sense. Hunters claim the lights follow them. Hikers say they see them one night, then hear footsteps the next. Some who have tried to chase the orbs found themselves lost, wandering in circles, as if something was leading them deeper into the forest. The lights remain, unexplained and watching, waiting for the next person to follow them into the unknown. And then there's the feeling, out in those dense woods, miles from anyone, that you are not alone. The Appalachian Mountains have long been home to stories of strange, unidentifiable creatures. Some describe shadowy figures that move too fast to be human. Others tell of large, hunched beings with glowing eyes, glimpsed between the trees just long enough to send a chill down your spine. One of the most infamous accounts comes from West Virginia, the Mothman, a winged creature with burning red eyes, said to appear before disasters. Then there are the stories of the Wampus cat, a feline-like creature that supposedly stalks hikers at night. and the unnerving tales of people hearing strange, distorted voices calling their names deep in the forest when no one is there. Skeptics argue it's all folklore, but missing person cases in the region suggest otherwise. Hikers vanish without a trace, their campsites undisturbed, their gear left behind. No signs of struggle, no logical explanation. Whether it's the mountains themselves, or something lurking within them, one thing is certain: the deeper you go, the less the world feels like the one you know. If there's one thing more unsettling than something hiding in the trees, it's something disappearing into the ice. Mount Erebus, an active volcano in Antarctica, holds one of aviation's most chilling mysteries. On November 28, 1979, Air New Zealand Flight 901 vanished into its slopes. It was meant to be a scenic flight, no landing, just a loop over the frozen continent before returning to Auckland. But something went wrong. The plane, carrying 257 people, never made it back. Investigators found the wreckage, but what they didn't find were clear answers. The official report blamed pilot error, but strange details linger. The plane was flying on a route it shouldn't have been. It descended far too low, as if drawn into the mountain itself. Then there's the eerie phenomenon pilots call the whiteout. The mountain's icy terrain sometimes reflects light so perfectly that the ground and sky become indistinguishable. But some believe something else was at play. A force, a presence, something that has drawn more than one aircraft into its grasp. Even today, Erebus remains one of the most inhospitable, unexplored places on Earth, where the ice holds its secrets and never gives them back. Not all mountains hide their secrets in rock, some are entombed in ice. In 1991, two hikers in the Ötztal Alps on the Austrian-Italian border stumbled upon a body emerging from a melting glacier. At first they thought it was a modern climber, frozen in time, but tests revealed something far stranger. The man, nicknamed Ötzi, was over 5,000 years old, one of the best preserved mummies ever found. His clothes, weapons, and even his last meal remained intact. But what really disturbed researchers wasn't how he died, it was what happened to those who found him. In the years following his discovery, at least 7 people connected to Ötzi's excavation died under eerie circumstances. A forensic expert perished in a car crash. A mountaineer who helped move the body died in an avalanche. The head of the rescue team collapsed from a sudden stroke. The deaths fueled whispers of an ancient curse, a warning from the past. Science dismisses the idea, blaming coincidence. But Ötzi's body holds mysteries beyond superstition, traces of copper and arsenic in his hair, suggesting he worked with metals before metallurgy was common. Tattoos of unknown purpose mark his skin. And then there's the arrow wound in his back, the fatal shot that suggests he was murdered. What happened to Ötzi in his final hours? And did uncovering his frozen tomb awaken something that should have remained buried? Mummies tell stories in flesh, but in the Andes, the past is written on the walls. Hidden in caves high in the mountains, ancient paintings stretch across rock surfaces, depicting something that shouldn't be there. Among the usual animals and human figures, strange beings appear, tall, elongated heads, oversized eyes, figures wrapped in halos of light. Some look eerily similar to modern depictions of extraterrestrials. The most famous of these artworks, found in remote Andean caves, date back thousands of years. Archaeologists believe they were painted by early civilizations, perhaps as part of rituals. But the strangest part? Some of the symbols resemble constellations. Others depict what looks like flying objects hovering above the human figures below. Skeptics argue these are just abstract art, a coincidence. But ancient Andean cultures like the Nazca and Chavin were deeply connected to the stars, tracking celestial movements with astonishing precision. Could these paintings be a record of something they saw in the sky? Something that came down to meet them? The answers, if they exist, are buried in time, or maybe in the caves that still remain unexplored. The caves of the Andes hold strange images, but in Turkey beneath Mount Nemrut, something even more incredible was uncovered. Not paintings, but an entire hidden city. While the mountaintop is known for its massive stone heads, carved in honor of an ancient king, few know what lies beneath. In the 1960s, researchers began investigating tunnels near Nemrut, and made an astonishing discovery: an underground network, stretching deep into the rock. Some passages were wide enough for groups to walk side by side, others barely large enough to crawl through. The deeper they went, the stranger it became. Storage rooms, ventilation shafts, even what appeared to be meeting halls, all carved into the stone with unimaginable precision. Who built it, and why? Some believe it was a hidden refuge, an ancient fortress designed to protect people from invaders. Others suggest something more unsettling, that whatever lived there wasn't just hiding from enemies, but from something far worse. The air is thick with history, but the silence is heavy, as if the mountain itself remembers something we were never meant to know. Some mysteries are carved into stone, others are buried beneath it. But in the Paracas Mountains of Peru, the mystery is bone deep. In the 1920s, archaeologist Julio Tello made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the scientific world. Hundreds of skulls, elongated, deformed, unlike anything seen before. These weren't crude modifications, they were shaped with an unnatural symmetry, some with cranial volumes far larger than any known human skull. For years, researchers debated their origins. Many ancient cultures practiced skull elongation, binding infant heads to create a distinct shape. But the Paracas skulls, some showed no signs of artificial modification. Their structure suggested something different, something genetic. DNA tests only deepened the mystery, revealing mutations never seen in human populations. Who were they? A forgotten lineage? A hybrid species? Theories range from undiscovered human relatives to something far more unsettling. What's even stranger is the secrecy. Some skulls disappeared into private collections and further studies have been slow, even resisted. Why? The Paracas skulls are an anomaly, an uncomfortable crack in what we thought we knew about human history. And in that crack, questions remain. Were they truly human? Or were they something else entirely? From strange skulls to golden faces, the next discovery is no less eerie. Deep in the Carpathian Mountains, archaeologists unearthed something dazzling yet disturbing. Ornate gold masks placed over the faces of the dead, buried in forgotten tombs. They date back thousands of years, crafted with precision that shouldn't have been possible for their time. The most famous of these, found in Romania and Bulgaria, belong to the ancient Thracians, a civilization shrouded in mystery. But unlike other burial masks, these weren't just decorative. Some had hollow eyes as if meant to be worn beyond death. Others were shaped to exaggerate human features, elongated, unnatural, almost inhuman. Why were they made? Some suggest they were symbols of power, meant to give the dead a godlike presence. Others whisper of something stranger, that these masks weren't just to honor the dead but to change them, to transform them into something else. Whatever the truth, the masks remain as silent witnesses to a civilization that vanished, leaving only golden faces staring into the void. And then there's Rupkund, a place where faces don't just stare from the grave, they litter the ground itself. High in the Indian Himalayas, at over 16,000 feet, lies Rupkund Lake, a remote frozen basin. For most of the year, it's an unremarkable pool of ice. But when the snow melts, something horrifying appears, hundreds of human skeletons packed around the lake, some still with flesh clinging to their bones. The discovery sent scientists scrambling for answers. Who were they? What happened here? Carbon dating placed them between 800 and 1,500 years old, but they weren't from one group. Genetic studies revealed they came from different regions, suggesting multiple events as if the lake had been swallowing travelers for centuries. Theories range from a deadly hailstorm to ritual sacrifice, but none fully explain the scale of the remains or their scattered positions. Some bodies were found in unnatural postures as if something had struck them down in an instant. Even now, the lake remains a chilling enigma, a frozen graveyard where the wind howls through empty eye sockets, whispering secrets that no one has lived to tell. High in the Bolivian Andes, standing alone among the ruins of Tiwanaku, is a massive stone doorway, the Gate of the Sun. Carved from a single block of andesite, it weighs over 10 tons, yet no one knows exactly how it was built or what purpose it served. Even stranger is what's carved into it. A complex pattern of figures, symbols, and a central figure with a radiant halo, known as the Weeping God. Some believe it represents Viracocha, a god said to have walked among humans before vanishing into the ocean. But the mystery deepens. Some researchers claim the engravings form an ancient calendar, one that tracks celestial cycles with shocking accuracy. Others suggest it depicts events long before the rise of the Tiwanaku civilization, possibly pointing to a lost, unknown culture. Even more puzzling, the gate appears to have once stood upright in a different location, meaning it may have been part of something much larger. The question lingers, was this a portal, a calendar, or something more? Some claim it marks the entrance to a forgotten world, a gateway not just to another place but to another time. And if that's true, then what exactly was on the other side? If the Gate of the Sun holds lost knowledge, then deep in the Siberian wilderness, Mount Sharia may hold something even older. Among the frozen cliffs, researchers discovered something that defies explanation. Colossal stone slabs, some weighing over 3,000 tons, stacked with unnatural precision. The formations look like the ruins of a forgotten structure, one that would have required advanced engineering. But what truly unsettled researchers were the markings. Some of these stones bore strange, almost mathematical patterns, as if they once formed a giant astronomical calendar. Unlike known ancient observatories, these markings didn't match traditional lunar or solar cycles. Instead, they seemed to track something else, something unknown. Geologists argue the stones are natural formations, shaped by time and weather, yet their alignment, their scale, and their almost intentional placement raise unsettling questions. If they were built, then by whom? And if they were meant to measure time, then what kind of time were they tracking? A forgotten civilization, lost to history, or something even older, something waiting to be understood? Mountains hold the past, but some burn with an eternal fire. Deep in Australia's Hunter Valley, Mount Wingan, better known as the Burning Mountain, has been smoldering for over 6,000 years. Beneath its surface, an underground coal seam is on fire, creeping slowly beneath the earth at a few feet per year, never stopping, never cooling. The local Wanarua people spoke of a great fire spirit trapped within the mountain, a warning never to disturb it. When European settlers first saw the smoke rising from the ground, they thought it was a volcano. But this was no ordinary blaze. It was something ancient, a fire that should have burned out long ago. Even today, the ground above the fire is cracked and scorched, steaming in the cold air. No one knows exactly how it started, but some believe it may have ignited from a lightning strike thousands of years ago. What's more disturbing is that no one knows when, or if, it will ever stop. And deep underground where the fire still moves, who knows what might be uncovered when the mountain finally burns itself open. Buried in the cliffs near the Dead Sea, the Qumran caves have given the world some of its most important ancient texts, the Dead Sea Scrolls. But among them one stands apart. Unlike the others written on parchment or papyrus, this one was etched into metal, thin sheets of pure copper. The copper scroll is different in another way too. It doesn't contain religious writings, laws, or prophecies. Instead, it's a list of hidden treasures. The scroll describes vast amounts of gold, silver, and sacred objects supposedly buried across multiple secret locations. But these aren't ordinary caches. If the scroll is to be believed, the total value of the treasure would be worth billions today. Who hid it? Some believe it belonged to the Second Temple in Jerusalem, hidden away before the Romans destroyed it. Others think it could be the lost wealth of the Essenes, the mysterious sect that lived in Qumran. Yet despite decades of searching, not a single piece of treasure from the scroll has ever been found. Some believe the riches were already taken, long before the scroll was rediscovered. Others claim the instructions are coded, hiding their true meaning. Or maybe, just maybe, the treasure was never meant to be found at all, a false map leading to nowhere, or a real fortune buried beneath centuries of history. Either way, the Copper Scroll remains one of the most baffling mysteries of the ancient world. Some mysteries are hidden beneath ice, others beneath stone, but in Arizona's Superstition Mountains, the secret is buried in legend. For over a century, treasure hunters, historians, and skeptics alike have been drawn to this rugged, unforgiving landscape in search of one thing, the lost Dutchman's mine. Said to hold a fortune in gold, the mine has never been found, yet the stories surrounding it refuse to fade. It all starts with Jacob Waltz, a German immigrant, often called the Dutchman, who allegedly discovered a secret gold mine in the 19th century. According to legend, Waltz took the location of the mine to his grave, revealing cryptic clues only to a few people before he passed. Some say he described landmarks, a split rock, a shadow that only appears at certain times of the year. Others claim the mine was originally discovered by the Peralta family, a Mexican mining dynasty wiped out in a massacre by local tribes protecting their land. But the deeper you dig into the story, the stranger it becomes. Over the years, numerous people have set out to find the treasure, only to disappear under mysterious circumstances. Some have been found dead in the desert, their bodies untouched except for a look of fear frozen on their faces. Others have simply vanished, as if the mountains themselves swallowed them whole. Even the Apache people who have lived in this land for generations warn against searching for the mine. They believe the Superstition Mountains are cursed, home to spirits and forces that should not be disturbed. Some legends even speak of an entrance to the underworld hidden within the peaks, a place where those who enter never return. Despite the warnings, the search continues. Every year, new explorers arrive, armed with old maps, satellite images, and theories that they believe will finally crack the mystery. Some claim the mine is hidden behind a rock slide, others believe it's disguised by the natural formations of the canyons. But so far the treasure, if it ever existed, remains lost. That's about it. Write in the comments which discovery impressed you the most. For more useful information, watch other videos.